Well, thank you so much, Mr. Chairman, and thank you to our witnesses today. Thank you so much for taking moments out of your day to come before us. Thank you for convening this hearing to discuss AI-enabled crime, efforts to detect and combat such crime, and how law enforcement deploys AI tools. Like so many new technologies, AI is not inherently good or bad. AI-enabled tools can find patterns, sort through vast amounts of information, and may even help law enforcement solve their crimes. But in the wrong hands, the same tools can be used to commit financial fraud, breach national security systems, and to harm our children. When used by law enforcement, this technology has the potential to empower our investigators while also carrying the risk of serious errors with life-changing consequences. That is why it is critical that we proceed thoughtfully and put appropriate guardrails in place so that everyone in our criminal justice system that is using AI-enabled tools, they're using them responsibly, not to the detriment of law-abiding members of our communities. We've already seen what can go wrong when those safeguards are missing. A woman and her family experienced the dangers of using AI-enabled facial recognition technology. Detroit police used a facial recognition tool in an attempt to identify a carjacking suspect using an image from a surveillance camera. The tool matched the surveillance image with a picture of Portia Woodruff, a nursing school student. One morning, as Ms. Woodruff was getting her two children ready for school, police knocked on her door and they told her that she was under arrest for carjacking. She knew right away there must be some kind of mistake, and she gestured at her body as she spoke to law enforcement to point out the obvious, she hoped, to law enforcement, that she was 8 months pregnant. Though the police had not been looking for a visibly pregnant woman, they still handcuffed Ms. Woodruff, took her away from her crying children, held her for 11 hours, searched her phone, and they charged her. After her release, she went straight to the hospital and was treated for dehydration. The charges were dismissed a month later. This case is especially troubling because facial recognition tools have been shown to perform worse on Black individuals, increasing the risk of misidentification and contributing to over-criminalization. AI is only as good as the data it is trained on. And when that data is biased, it exacerbates racial disparities, long embedded in our criminal justice system. An inaccurate tool is dangerous for every single one of us. Not one of us is immune to these mistakes. Thankfully, and in due part to cases like this one, the City of Detroit has adopted new rules to direct the use of facial recognition technology within its police department. And they're simply not alone. Many cities and states have put sensible guardrails in place to limit potentially harmful uses of AI. That's why it was alarming when some of my Republican colleagues recently attempted to pass a moratorium on state and local AI regulations in the Big Ugly Bill, a move that generated bipartisan opposition so much that 40 states' attorneys general and 17 Republican governors, including the governor of my state, Georgia, wrote letters to the Senate in opposition to the proposed moratorium. The governors warned that, and I'm quoting them, "People will be at risk until basic rules ensuring safety and fairness can go into effect," end quote. As you'll see behind me, Sarah Huckabee Sanders, the Republican governor of Arkansas and former press secretary to President Trump, took to Twitter to quote, "I stand with a majority of
Representative Lucy McBath, Democrat, Georgia, spoke passionately about a GOP proposal that aimed to prevent state and local governments from regulating AI, a move that was ultimately defeated. McBath acknowledged the potential of AI tools to assist law enforcement in solving crimes and detecting patterns, but stressed the importance of using these tools responsibly to prevent harm. She cited an example from Detroit, where AI-powered facial recognition technology led to the wrongful arrest of a pregnant woman, Portia Woodruff, for carjacking, highlighting the risks of misidentification and racial bias in AI systems. Facial recognition technology, McBath pointed out, often performs poorly with people of color, which exacerbates existing racial disparities in the justice system. This, she argued, underscores the need for proper regulations to prevent these technologies from being misused. In response to the Detroit case, the city had adopted rules to better regulate the use of facial recognition, and McBath urged other cities and states to follow suit. However, a proposal from some Republican lawmakers to impose a moratorium on state and local AI regulations raised concerns. McBath noted that 40 state attorneys general, including Republicans, and 17 Republican governors, had written letters opposing the moratorium, warning that it would put people's safety at risk. Despite this, the proposal was pushed forward but was ultimately stripped from a larger bill after overwhelming bipartisan opposition in the Senate. McBath expressed support for the governors and attorneys general who opposed the moratorium, stressing that states should have the right to regulate AI to protect their citizens from potential abuses. She also emphasized the need for thoughtful, carefully crafted guardrails to ensure that AI technologies are used fairly and responsibly, particularly in law enforcement, where mistakes can have life-changing consequences. McBath concluded by calling for continued efforts to create regulations that would protect people from the worst abuses of AI, urging lawmakers to learn from the experiences of states that have already implemented such safeguards.